Okay, welcome to Volume 7 of Just Chatting here at 1FG Archives. We are continuing my top 25 games of all time, and we are at number 6 and 7. So let's get started. Right, so we have reached number 7 on my list. Now, mind you, we have had some really awesome games this entire top 25 list, and I've been looking forward to going through all these games with everybody. I'm hoping that if you haven't seen some of these games before, that you do try them out. And yeah, but let's just go ahead and continue on with number 7, and that is Tetris. Yes, Tetris, the all-time classic. Now, a lot of these games that I've played, I'm sure many of you people have read or played before, rather. But it almost has also what kind of impact it had on the gaming industry, as well as myself personally. I have already written reviews for both the games that I have review for today, and so I'm going to read off those reviews once we get to them, and then kind of maybe talk a little bit further about them. Who knew that making lines from falling blocks could be so addicting? Tetris took the world by storm back when the original Nintendo Game Boy was released and has never lost any popularity. While I was never able to actually play the game until the official NES release, to this day my favorite version is still the original on the Game Boy because you get an extra split second while lines disappear after you make them. The overall look and simple design to let you know what piece was coming up next, your high score, or the main game board itself was very easy to view and follow. Flipping those pieces to try to fit perfectly to create lines can always be very daunting at times, especially as you get higher in the levels and have no even surface to put that forsaken box, or having to wait so long for that line to appear to complete a Tetris. Regardless, Tetris was here to stay. Whether it be going for a new personal best or trying to beat that level 9 height 5 challenge, Tetris is a game you can pick up and play for hours or just a quick game to pass the time. Nintendo has even made Tetris into an even more fun or casual competition with Tetris 99, where you play against multiple friends or go online to play against 98 other people to reach Tetris Maximus. There were even several sequels, such as Tetris 2 and Tetris Plus, which added more mechanics to the original concept. But for me, nothing can ever outdo the original and what it did for the gaming world. This success has had companies such as Sega developing their own puzzle type game to try to combat Tetris. Sega released Columns later in 1989 with its own take on the puzzle mechanic that makes a player match three or more of the same gem to make them disappear. While it was a cool new concept and fun to play, it failed to reach the popularity of Tetris, even though there were also sequels that came out as well. Tetris will always be king of the hill when it comes to puzzle games. Lastly, let me talk about one other aspect of Tetris that will always have you coming back to it: the tunes. I have to admit, the original tune that plays once you press start on the Game Boy will be a tune I will always remember, considering how many times each tune will repeat itself as you play a game. Average time is about 35-40 seconds per tune. For a game that lasts 30 minutes, you do the math. It's no wonder they will get stuck in one's head. Anyway, another part that I did like from the NES version is that when your pieces start to get too high, the music would speed up as to put you into a panic mode to add more anxiety to the situation. It makes the experience that much more enjoyable. At least I think so. I have often caught myself at times during a game where I would just let the blocks fall on their own as I bounced to the music. So why is Tetris number 7? There are still a few games I feel have had more impact on my gaming life, but nothing can take away what Tetris brought to the table. The simple fact is this: Tetris never gets old. No matter how many times I play it, I always have a good time regardless of how well I do. Add the music and maybe a little competition from time to time, my number 7 game of all time is Tetris. And again, I still just cannot stress that enough. Tetris was just it's an absolute little fun gem of a game. You know, fitting pieces together just and I can just sit here and even watch people play Tetris and just enjoy it. You know, watching them get the highest score possible or, you know, just watch them fail miserably. You know, I would say regardless, you have fun playing these type of games. It's you know, I'm not, and me myself personally, I'm not really big on puzzle games whatsoever. But for some reason, when you have a game like Tetris, it's just perfection. You know, they knew what they were doing when they put this thing together. And you know, the music, the sound effects as the bricks, you know, make contact with each other and everything, and it's there's just so much done right for Tetris. I mean, again, as I said, I can go back to this, play it for 5 minutes, play it for 2 hours, and I'll enjoy it every single moment of it. Trying to get my own personal best or just to have some fun. I mean, as I said, no matter what you do with the game, it's always the original is always going to be the best for me. But I do again, I do jump on a game of Tetris 99 just to see how I am against the world, you know, so to speak. I have never I think the highest I've ever gotten is like fourth place on that. But, you know, against my friends, I think I'm probably a little bit more skilled, but you know what? It doesn't matter. It's all about the fun of the game, and especially in Tetris 99, where you can actually unlock, you know, your little badges and stuff like that, what you want to put for your own little icon and all that. It's really cool, and I like the fact that they added like backgrounds that you can have for like the different like games from the Nintendo franchise, such as like Kirby, from Zelda to Metroid. They all have their own little boards that you can unlock and just use those when you play the game, and it doesn't affect anything. The bricks are still going to follow the same, all that goodness. It's just the simple background and the music that's going to be playing it, and that just makes it all worth it. Okay, so moving on to number 6, and that game is Super Mario Brothers. This is the original one. This is the original one that came out in the mid 18 or not 18 in the late 18 1980s. There we go. I can speak. Here we go. Um, but this I know is going to be a toss up between Mario 3 and this one. Mario 3 is in my, actually has moved to my top 50 of games of all time, simply because this Mario Brothers game right here, the original just did so much. You know, it meant so much to me. So I'm going to go ahead and just read what I wrote for my review on this one. The year is 1986. I am 5 years old and I'm already enjoying playing video games on my dad's 1985 compact MS-DOS computers such as Burger Time and Jaybird, a knockoff of Qbert, or other games on the Intellivision. One day I overhear my brothers discussing about some console that came out that has a lot of cool games on it. Of course, they were talking about the NES. And it was only about a month or two later that when I came home from school, my dad had showed me that he had gotten one for the family. I was so excited that I dropped my backpack, ran to the table, and literally hugged the console for dear life. The rest is history. The original NES came with the Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt cartridge. Once I saw my older brother press start on Super Mario Bros., I was completely amazed and drawn in. Whether stomping on Goombas, grabbing a mushroom or fire flower, or trying to time that run under Bowser to collapse the drawbridge, I was begging for my turn to play. When it was, all I could say is I never wanted to let go of that controller. Regardless of how many times I spent just on the first few levels, I was not giving up. I wanted to be the first in my family to beat the game. Sadly, I wasn't, but that only encouraged me, a 5-year-old, that with determination and time I could do it too, in which several months later I succeeded. This was just the beginning. I cannot tell you how many times over the past 35 plus years since finishing this game for the first time, I still come back for a full game of Super Mario Bros. Every once in a while. Much like Tetris, I just can't get enough of this game. Between the catchy tunes of the overworld to the ever-electric invincibility, mixed in with the overall simplicity of the game, Nintendo created an absolute masterpiece. Even to this day, there are times I still struggle to save the princess, but that is perfectly fine with me. I will try again and again until I do with a smile on my face, just as I did as a 5-year-old boy. Another aspect I love about this game is the simple fact that there are warp zones you can find. Whether you want to play a super fast speed run, skip a world or two, or take your time and go through the entire game, Super Mario Bros. Gives you a variety of paths that you can take with plenty of challenges along the way. Even they even have bonus levels for you to gain a massive amount of coins and potential one-ups. Speaking of one-ups, there are several of them hidden throughout the game, usually one somewhere in the first level of each world. It was always nice to find them when you did, because you only have 3 lives to get through the whole game after all. I don't know about you, but there is always going to be that dreaded jump over a gap or a flying Cheep Cheep that has your name on it that'll eat away at those precious lives. No matter how many times it happens, I will always be back to try again. So why is Super Mario Bros. At number 6? I actually had to put a lot of thought into this decision because there are several Mario games I really do enjoy, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of feedback from this choice. However, that being said, for me, nothing can take away what the original brought to me as a gamer. The challenging yet simple gameplay along with awesome music and sounds, this game had it all. There are still several other more games felt that I felt were better, but for now, my number 6 game of all time is Super Mario Brothers. And that's never gonna change. I honestly my top 10 games of all time, I don't think I'm ever gonna change those at this point in my gaming life and as well as my personal life, anything along those lines. I'm still discovering new games to this day, but none of them so far, all the other ones these new games that I've ever played have had no little to no impact to my choices that I've made for my top 25. Now, I'm not saying that at some point there might be some changes in the future, but in terms of my top 10, they're going to have a major impact on me in order to make me change that decision of what I've done so far for showing off this list and everything. And when we continue next time, we'll just be continuing on down the list with the next 2 games on the list. We're going to save number 1 for the very last, simply because I just don't have the review quite written for it yet. But maybe I might not even write one either. I might just completely ad-lib, the whole thing. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to think about that. But for these 2 games, what else can I say about them? It's just the replay factor, the simplicity. Sometimes, the best games in life, or best things in life in general, are just simple. Keep it simple, and people will come back to it. Look at Angry Birds, for example. That was another game that was extremely popular. I know a lot of people like Fortnite, Call of Duty, all those things. Relatively simple. The controls to me are a little bit, too much considering what all the different things that you can do. But the overall concept is very simple. Run and gun. In first person, kill or be killed, that kind of thing. The same thing with Super Mario Bros. Get to the end, finish the game. Hey, look, there's also even a second world that you can go through, a second playthrough where things are a little bit faster and make things a little bit more challenging. I can remember when I was actually doing when I was actually doing the videos for this, when I did the actual playthrough for Super Mario Brothers, I pulled a no death run on the second quest, but I died like once or twice on the first quest. So, it's just again, and that's perfectly fine. I don't care, unless I'm actually personally trying to go for that goal where I want to do a no death run. For me, like for Tetris, even completing the challenge of level 9, height 5, I absolutely love doing that challenge. I really, really do. My fingers probably don't think so much, but don't like it so much. But these gaming hands are starting to get a little older, so they're starting to begin to let me know that I've been abusing them. For all these all these years I've been gaming and all that. how much you're pressing down on those buttons so hard, when you're trying to make that jump, and then you get those faces that you look when you're trying to, like, ooh, ah. That certain sound effects you get when you're making these, trying to make these jumps, or you think you miss it and you put your head down because you missed, or you laugh because you thought you pressed the button and you didn't, and there goes Mario plumbing into a gap or something. It's moments like that, because it's like, that's part of the reason why, another reason why I like with the replay factor, because it's like, I already know I can beat Mario Brothers. I already know I can beat the level 5 or level 9 height 5 challenge on Tetris. But when you screw up so bad, or it's just like you thought you pressed something and it doesn't, and the blocks just, start stacking, really really fast, because you make that one little mistake get to you, and you break your concentration, and nope, it's too late now at that point. You make one little mistake at that point from Tetris at level 9, height 5, yeah, you restart, You're, they're going to stack up super high, super quick, and then, yep, you're done. You don't even get a chance to respond. So, and again, in Super Mario Brothers, it's just, you have to, there's certain places you have to run and jump and everything, and you go and you press the button, but there goes Mario sailing into the gap. It's like you sit there and laugh at it. You sit there and laugh and you try again. That's the whole point of it. The replay factor, the whole fun factor of the whole games, of both of these games here. It's just so much fun, and as I said, I go back to these every once in a while, and it just never gets old. I mean, you have so much fun with these games, regardless, and it's not just that. It's not just, I can't enjoy the sequels of these games either. It's I really enjoy some of the sequels that Nintendo has put out for these games as well, such as Mario 3, Mario 2. I actually was not a huge fan of Super Mario World. I'm gonna go run and hide now. No. But there are other, like Mario Galaxy, Mario Odyssey. Those things were just. I mean, I wasn't a fan of Mario 64 either, but that's just me. But all in all, it's the same thing with Tetris. They have Tetris 2, Tetris Plus on the PlayStation. There's tons of different, versions of this game, but nothing. And of course, as I've talked already, Tetris 99, where you can actually play with friends, or you can play online and just go against people. This whole concept of just not of constant. There's never. If you notice, like, even when Nintendo has released, um like, these other 99 games, Pac-Man at 99 for Namco, for example. Right now we're doing F-Zero 99. I mean, heck, even we've had Mario 35, for goodness. Now that one was fun. But that also shows you how um how far this thing has come against 34 other people with Mario 35. It's always funny though, because of true fact that the little first little Goomba in World 1-1 of Super Mario Brothers has killed, like, has Mario has died more times to that thing than probably anything else that people have died to in a video game. It's hilarious, because I can remember, even when playing Super Mario 35 when it was available on Nintendo Switch Online, all of a sudden you'd start your run through, and then like immediately one or two people would automatically just be gone, because they tapped that little Goomba, that first little Goomba at the start of 1-1. And I will admit that's happened to me once or twice too, just because you don't press the button high enough, or you just forget to press the button as you're running. It and plays a factor of how well you know the level too. And with Tetris 99, you have to choose how you want to throw your junk lines to people. If you want to throw them at attackers, if you want to throw them at whoever's doing the best, that kind of thing. Those are just little extra factors that just add to the overall replay factor, and just the fun of what Nintendo has brought to these two franchises. It's just super super well done. Bravo, Nintendo, for all the many years that you've done and brought to both these franchises. It's just incredible. But yes, that's gonna wrap it up for this episode. As I said, this is numbers 6 and 7 of my all-time list for top 25 games, and yeah. And so you can check me out at facebook.com/oneforsakengaming, Instagram. My Discord is over on my Twitch page at twitch.tv/oneforsakengaming. And of course, as always, right here on YouTube at 1FG Archives. Next episode, we're going to be continuing the top 25 list. As I said, we're going to be doing numbers 4 and 5. So that'll be volume 8 next time. So until then, have a great day, everybody, and we will see you next time.